did you sleep last night? I know that's a personal question, and your answer might include several factors, like how long your head was on the pillow, or whether you snored, or what your children did, or even your cycles of brain activity that fluctuated during the night. Whatever your answer, your experience of sleep is important. The way you feel today and the illness you might have next year may depend on how you slept last night. Hey friends, I'm Larry Payne, your host of Tracks for the Journey. The podcast is dedicated to improving your well-being through progressive Christian spirituality and psychology. Right now, you're awake and you're listening or watching to what I'm saying. But let's turn the clock back a few hours to think about the need for healthy sleep. Your waking hours can be better if your sleeping hours improve. The book of Acts recounts a semi-humorous story about sleep. One night in the city of Troas, on the coast of modern Turkey, Paul the Apostle was meeting with Christians. They met in an upstairs room and Paul preached for a long time. A young guy named Eutychus had perched himself near an open window, perhaps to catch a sea breeze blowing through the midnight air. The Bible says, as Paul preached on and on, Eutychus was sound asleep and fell to the ground from the third-story window and was feared dead. Well, dear listener, let's ignore the obvious comparison to many other sermons which have put you to sleep. For our study today, we want to think about this young man as possibly being sleep-deprived. Eutychus has many descendants in America today, and I'm not talking about people who sleep during sermons. More than 1/3 of Americans report less than 7 hours of sleep per night. And according to the United Health Foundation, quote, sleep is critical for basic functions such as cognitive processing, mood regulation, blood sugar level, and immune system response. Insufficient sleep is a risk factor for many chronic diseases, including cancer, depression, diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. They go on to say that insufficient sleep is also associated with reduced productivity and quality of life, as well as the risk of motor vehicle accidents, industrial accidents, and medical errors. Well, all this data drives home the value of what happens on your bed every night as you sleep. It's no wonder that the Geneva Convention classifies deliberate sleep deprivation as a form of wartime torture. Unfortunately, our American culture does not support healthy sleep habits. We are a culture obsessed with the myth that the harder you work, the more successful you'll be. Many people sacrifice sleep by choice or the demands of a work schedule in our 24/7, 365 society. The stress-filled schedule doesn't make us sleep better at all. And we may pride ourselves in our advanced culture and knowledge over primitive people, but it seems we've backtracked a long way from the commandment to keep a Sabbath of rest that God instructed the Hebrews to practice 3,000 years ago. My wife had a busy schedule years ago as she balanced full-time teaching with mothering teenagers and staying active at our church. Exhaustion lurked around the corner. She reported that occasionally she would fall into a microsleep episode when stopped at a red light driving home from school in the afternoon. It prompted our youngest daughter to say, "Mama, it's green," to wake her up. All of us really can tell similar stories under the pressure of our overcommitted lifestyle, but now we really understand how this exhaustion is bad for our health. A huge amount of research on sleep has shown the benefits that come from getting a good night's rest. Earlier I mentioned emotional regulation, which helps us manage the stress of daily life in constructive ways. When we aren't rested, then we can't handle our emotions, just like a cranky toddler who needs a nap. Another benefit is clearer thinking. This is where the cognitive processing of all the data that floods our senses is sorted out in rational ways. We also see that memory and problem solving deteriorate when we're tired. Our thoughts just seem confused, and we can't focus on what we're doing. For many of us, this drop in performance and quality of life has become the dull norm that quietly robs us of feeling fully alive and alert. Neurological research has discovered the complex interaction of many different neurotransmitters that produce sleep. A couple of these are melatonin and adenosine. Your mind is aware of the day and night pattern each day, and darkness raises the melatonin in the brain to make us sleepy. The brain is also monitoring the cellular activity expended during the day through the level of adenosine. High levels make us drowsy. These things are working to reduce alertness so that we can go to sleep. Dreams are also a important part of sleep. Scientists debate the function of our dreams with theories ranging from memory consolidation to emotional processing. We do know that poor sleep can make our dreams more intense and frequent. Another issue can be nightmares that wake us up from sleep with an intense experience of fear. If that's common, it's a signal to get some help with a therapist to look at the issues that may be underlying this and making it troublesome. The stories the disciples told about Jesus mention his sleep. Caught in a violent storm on the Sea of Galilee, the disciples panicked while Jesus slept in the storm-tossed boat. The men shouted at him to bring him awake. "Rabbi, don't you care? We're going to drown." Now, it's possible to interpret this story several ways. Maybe Jesus was sleep-deprived after days of demanding ministry. Maybe he wasn't worried about the storm since he had the power to calm it. Or maybe he's an example of the vital habit we need to improve. Let's say for today's lesson that even Jesus needed a good nap so often. If sleep was important for him, who do we think we are? Okay, wake up and listen to this last segment. Sleep is important for your well-being. Here are some suggestions to promote effective rest and improve your quality of life. First, have a regular time for going to bed and getting up. The body needs consistency to set the internal clock. Of course, set that habit to give yourself at least 7 hours of sleep, and try to do the same relaxing routine in the hour before bed, like taking a bath or reading or meditating. Putting that together to have this regular time will really be a benefit for you. A second important action is to set up your bedroom environment for success. Make it a dark, cool, and quiet place. Move out the dog, the cat, or the preschooler. And invest in a quality bed since you spend 1/3 of each day in that bed. Have an honest conversation with your bed partner for collaboration in what practices help both of you sleep better. And remember that body clock is very sensitive to light and it needs a dark environment to promote the best sleep. So it's best to start dimming your environment an hour or so before bed. And that bedroom can be dark, and that will diminish the stimulation to your body clock. Third, program your brain and body for rest. Good sleep requires good preparation. Use the last hour of the day to calm your body and mind from the busy day. Avoid the stimulations of caffeine or alcohol or big meals in the hours immediately before you lay down. And yes, it's best to turn off those electronics an hour before you lay down. Don't wait till late in the evening to have important conversations because those stimulate your mind as a problem solver. And I would suggest when you lay down, consciously become present in the bed, feeling your body relaxing, and maybe going through each muscle from legs to shoulders, just focusing on relaxing. Putting your attention on those immediate physical sensations may keep your brain from chattering about the day or about tomorrow or other crazy things that you have no control over at all. Let me also suggest that during your next doctor's appointment, take some time to talk about your sleep. To prepare for that, keep a simple journal of how you sleep for a couple of weeks before you meet with your doctor. Record what you did in the evening, what time you went to bed, whether you got up during the night, and if you had any insomnia. In the morning, note how many hours you slept and take stock of how rested you feel. Then pay attention to times of tiredness during the day. Now, to do all this, you can download a simple sleep diary from the internet, and I suggest that you take that to your next appointment to open the conversation with your doctor about this vital habit. A few months ago, I started using a sleep tracker that connects to my smartwatch. It records heart rate, oxygen, and movement to analyze the phases of sleep. The data is combined for a score and suggestions to improve my rest. Now, I know it's a nerdy thing, and it isn't really clinically accurate like a medical sleep test. But I do find it a good reminder about healthy sleep habits. It makes me pay attention to what I'm doing. You can improve your life with some good sleep. I hope this episode has helped you think about that. And maybe you're drowsy after listening to it. Well, that's okay. Put some good practices into place tonight, and there will be a healthier tomorrow. Let me close with a quote from my mother-in-law, Ruth, as she spoke to the grandchildren. Her admonition that they remember fondly was, "Good night, sleep tight, and wake up in the morning bright to do what's right with all your might." May you do the same, and may you enjoy a good night's rest tonight.